Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you are not audible if you are speaking.
Not audible. Okay, Hare Krishna. Let's continue with my phone then. Okay. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, so today we will sing another beautiful prayer by Shri Narottam Das Thakur, glorifying our Guru Parampara and our Vaishnavacharyas. So we have been singing this month on glories of Giriraj Govardhan. These are all pure devotees of the Lord who bestow us with pure devotional service. So we sang about Giriraj Govardhan's glories. We sang about last week about Srimati Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani's glories. So this week we will sing on the glories of Vaishnava Thakur, Parampara, our Acharyas, Guru Varga. Okay. एक बार करुणा करो वैष्णव गोसाई पतित पावन तुमा बिन के होनाई एक बार करुणा करो वैष्णव गोसाई पतित पावन तुमा बिन के होनाई चार निकटे गेले पाप दूरे जाय ए मोना दयाल प्रभु केव को थपाय गंगारा परश होइले पाशाते पावन दर्शने पवित्र करो ए तो मारा गुण हरिस्थाने अपराधे तारे हरि नाम तोमा स्थाने अपराधे नाही परित्राण तुम्हारा हृदये सदा गोविंद विश्राम गोविंद कोहिन मोरा वैष्णव पराण प्रति जन्मे कोरी आशा चरणे रधूली नरोत्तमे कोरो दोया अपनारा बोली एक बार करुणा करो वैष्णव गोसाई पतित पावन तुमा बिन के होनाई हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि बोल वैष्णव विज्ञापति सॉन्ग की जय श्री नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर की जय जगतगुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय Anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mata.
Hare Krishna. O Vaishnav Goswami, please be merciful to me now. There is no one except you who can purify the fallen souls. Where does anyone find such a merciful personality by whose mere audience all sins go away? After bathing in the water of the sacred Ganges many times, one becomes purified. But just by the sight of you, the fallen souls are purified. This is your great power. The holy names delivers one who has committed an offense to Lord Hari. But if one commits an offense to you, there is no means of deliverance. Your heart is always the resting place of Lord Govinda. Lord Govinda says, the Vaishnavas are in my heart. I desire the dust of one. I desire the dust of your holy feet in every birth I may take. Please consider Narottam's yours and be kind upon him. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, let's continue with Prabhupada Lilam. So yeah, Prabhupada Lilam also we saw yesterday. Chapter 50 we are on now. Prabhupada has come to New York after a long time, and he's also remembering the journey where it all started 10 years ago in 1965. Now it is 1975, 1976, that he's back in New York. And when Prabhupada was all alone by himself, he used to walk around in the downtown in the Bowery near the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's remembering all of those memories with his early disciples, Kirtananda Maharaj, Hayagriva Maharaj, and all of those disciples, early disciples who were there. So, but he's so merciful. His disciples are feeling so blessed that Prabhupada has come to bless them, and they have a new center, a new building that they've acquired, 12-story building in Manhattan, downtown. And Prabhupada also participated in the grand Rath Yatra festival yesterday that they organized in New York. So he's very, very happy, and the disciples are also very, very happy that he's so merciful that he's traveling even at this age of 80 years, traveling all over the world and inspiring, giving strength, enthusiasm to all his disciples all over the world. So like that, the song that we sang from Narottam Das Thakur also glorifies the Acharyas, that they are so merciful that they have given us this process of bhakti, and they are giving us their association. In this world it's only material association, but the spiritual world, it is all spirit, right? So even though they are not physically there, they are always there through their spirit, through their Vani, through their instructions. So like that, when we sing these prayers, we can receive mercy of our predecessor acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara. So okay, so let's continue. Chapter 50. Prabhupada is mentioning that the news articles have glorified about the Rath Yatra in New York. So he's very, very happy, and he's saying that we should share this news with everybody, even with Indira Gandhi in India. And he's saying how this lame man, which is India, because India cannot walk, and the blind man, which is America, because they're spiritually blind. But when the culture of India and the money of America come together, then we can change the whole world. So that's what Prabhupada's message was. Okay, so let's continue from here. Last night, said Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, all night we were cleaning up the grounds at the park. So one woman who lives next to the park said, in all my years of living here, I've never seen such a wonderful festival held. And on CBS television, the official who's in charge of the park said, we are very proud to be able to say that this park was founded hundreds of years ago when America was religious, and that spiritual life is still present in Washington Square Park. So why not ask the mayor to construct a temple there, said Srila Prabhupada. The devotees all laughed. But Prabhupada thought such things were certainly possible. Srila Prabhupada's health was worsening, as often happened when he travelled extensively. Particularly in New York, his health began to suffer. His itinerary was to continue on to London, Paris, Tehran, Bombay, and then to Hyderabad, where he would conduct the opening ceremony of a new ISKCON temple. Senior devotees entreated him to rest a while before going to England and India. He had spent a very pleasant day at the ISKCON farm in Pennsylvania, and the devotees suggested he go there for 2 or 3 months to rest, recover his health, and write. Every day they would beg him to please stay. When he heard that the GBC members in New York had unanimously recommended he not immediately travel, he said, "All right, I will not travel." But he could not be bound by the GBC, only by Krishna. He already had his plane tickets and he remained set on traveling. On the morning of Prabhupada's departure, a few devotees came to his room to make a last attempt, begging him not to travel. He said nothing, though he was obviously set on leaving. His servants were packing his bags and everything was ready to go. Nevertheless, even as he left his room and got on the elevator, a few men followed, still suggesting he not go. "Prabhupada, please reconsider," said Rameshwar Swami. Srila Prabhupada had remained jolly so far, despite his physical weakness and despite his disciples' pleading, but now his face changed. "Don't travel," one devotee said, and another added, "Just stay, sit down and rest." Prabhupada turned and his eyes were very deep. More than ever, he seemed not of this material world. "I want the benediction to go on fighting for Krishna," he said, just like Arjuna. Everyone remained silent, and the important instruction burned into their memories. The elevator opened on the main floor, and hundreds of waiting devotees chanted and cheered as Srila Prabhupada walked to his car. On the way to the airport, the devotees again began talking about how degraded Kali Yuga was. "But you have to go on preaching," Prabhupada advised them. "You have to go and try to save these people." As Srila Prabhupada left America, the devotees knew he would remain with them as long as they followed his instructions. Besides, even if he was leaving them, he would return. He was coming from India to New York, then going back to India, then coming to the West. He was always traveling between East and West, tugging the two cultures together, the lame man and the blind. Like Arjuna, he was fighting, and like Narad Muni, he was always traveling, glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. He would never stop, and those who sincerely followed would be with him. Hare Krishna. Chapter 51. Chant Hare Krishna and fight. Bombay, January 9, 1977. Srila Prabhupada started his morning walk before dawn. He and the devotees knew their way well through Hare Krishna land to the public road and off the property. They turned left, then right, and began walking down the block leading to the beach. The sky began to lighten. At first, they could not visibly distinguish land from sea from sky. But gradually, subtle nuances of color revealed the horizon, and they could see the vast plain of the Arabian Sea stretching to meet the even greater sea of sky, where last stars twinkled and faded. As Prabhupada and his small group walked along the broad beach, they were flanked on their left by a line of leaning palms and on their right by a rumbling surf. Srila Prabhupada wore a grey woolen chadar around his shoulders, a saffron silk kurta and dhoti, and peach-colored canvas shoes. He used a cane, leaning not heavily on it, but lightly. With each brisk step, he would point the cane ahead and poking it into the sand and lifting it again, rhythmically marking the place. He walked erectly and held his head high. A long line of Bombayites, many of them wealthy Juhu residents on their morning stroll, appeared, and a few coconut wallahs set up their carts, cutting off the tops of choice coconuts in anticipation of their first customers. Srila Prabhupada liked to walk at this time of morning, and weather permitting, he would do so no matter where he was in the world. Juhu Beach, however, was one of his favorite places to walk. Along the way, he and his disciples were joined by Dr. Patel in white shirt and pants, and several of his friends, mostly doctors and lawyers. Srila Prabhupada had been silent, but now he began to speak. "How everything is nice," Srila Prabhupada commented, gesturing toward the beach before him. "See the sky. How clear and how nice by Krishna. Purnamidam." With his cane, he indicated the tall, graceful palm trees. "The tree is called Vriksha," he said. "The Vriksha Yoni, or birth as a tree, is condemned. By Krishna's arrangement, however, the Vrikshas are also so nicely set up, it becomes beautiful. They are all representatives of Krishna," said Dr. Patel. "This is perfect." "Purnam," said Srila Prabhupada, quoting Ishopanishad. "Purnamidam Purnamadaha." Just as the rising sun illumines everything, Srila Prabhupada discoursed, speaking against the atheistic notion that the complex material creation has no creator. God's creation, said Prabhupada, is perfect and complete because it comes from Him who is Purnam, perfect and complete. Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Paramanu means smaller than the atom. 6 Paramanus make 1 Anu. This is atomic dimension. You combine 6 Paramanus, so in that Paramanu also the Lord is there. He made it, said Dr. Patel, and then he entered into it. That is what the Veda says. Yes, said Prabhupada, the Paramatma is there. The whole human life is meant for understanding all this and glorifying the Lord, and they are wasting their lives by imitating the hog. Prabhupada again fell silent, except for softly uttering the Hare Krishna mantra. Now the beach was light, and many people out on their morning walks or runs greeted Srila Prabhupada as they passed. The greetings were always words of respect or at least good morning, and Srila Prabhupada's response was usually Hare Krishna. Suddenly Prabhupada again began to speak. There's a very big conspiracy against us. By the church? Guessed Dr. Patel. Not by the church, said Prabhupada. By the society? Prabhupada uttered a thoughtful then added, now they are determined to cut down this movement. He didn't give any details, and neither Dr. Patel nor the others could fully draw out what was on his mind. Whatever it was, said Dr. Patel, no conspiracy against Krishna consciousness could take place in India. I wanted to start this movement in India, Prabhupada replied. I requested so many friends, give me just one son, but nobody agreed. They said, Swamiji, what will be the benefit by this if I make my son a Vaishnava or a Brahmana? They do not give much importance to the movement. They are planning how to stop this movement in so many ways. Always a faithful Indophile, Dr. Patel replied, the Americans are like that, always making propaganda. There is good and bad in every place, said Prabhupada. Krishna says, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Out of thousands of persons, hardly anyone is interested in perfecting his life. This is Kali Yuga. They walked on, and Srila Prabhupada said no more about it, speaking instead of materialistic household life, in which the chief pleasure is sex. Beyond this abominable sex pleasure, he said, was the full satisfaction of spiritual life. Prabhupada walked for half an hour and then turned around and began walking back, wanting to return to the temple by 7, just in time to greet the deities. Some of the others were flagging from the brisk pace, but Srila Prabhupada strode on, his golden-hued face triumphant in self-realization. Prabhupada began talking about the importance of satsanga, association with devotees, and Dr. Patel quipped, instead of doing satsanga, people go to Kumbh Mela. He laughed as if it were a good joke, but Prabhupada corrected him. No, he said, Kumbh Mela is satsanga. If you go to Kumbh Mela to find a man of knowledge, then your Kumbh Mela is right. Otherwise, yat tirtha buddhi salilena karhichit sa eva gokhara. If one thinks that this salila, the water, that just to take bath in the water is Kumbh Mela, then he is a gokhara, a cow or an ass. But if he thinks, now there is an assembly of so many saintly persons, let me take advantage of their knowledge, then he is intelligent. Ever since Srila Prabhupada had arrived in Bombay, he had been questioned about the upcoming Kumbh Mela at Allahabad. The Magha Mela occurred every year, but according to astrological calculations, a more auspicious occasion came every 12th year, Kumbh Mela. And every 12th Kumbh Mela, an event that occurred only once in 144 years, was especially auspicious. This year, 1977, was to be such a Mela, and the government was predicting an attendance of 12 million at the confluence of the holy rivers near Allahabad. Srila Prabhupada had said he would go. So, sir, said Dr. Patel, you are going by train to Kumbh Mela? Srila Prabhupada replied that he liked the train, but Dr. Patel said it was not good for health and that it would be a very long ordeal. He also warned Prabhupada that Allahabad would be very cold, and if Prabhupada wanted to leave the Mela early, he would find it very difficult because of the crowds. I will get one of my friends to get me some water from Allahabad on that day, laughed Dr. Patel. I'll take my bath here. Dr. Patel's friends also mentioned the difficulties of extreme weather and crowds at Allahabad during the Mela. Srila Prabhupada, however, was not swayed. He was well acquainted with Allahabad, having lived there with his family from 1923 to 1936. In 1925, said Srila Prabhupada, I went to the Mela. I remember. I was touching the water and it was pinching that it was cutting your body. But as soon as you actually get a dip, 1, 2, 3, then you immediately come out and it is alright. Prabhupada mentioned the 1928 Mela. When he was carrying his young child, I was in the midst of the crowd, he recalled. It was so big that I was afraid that if there was any rush, this child may be finished. But by the grace of Krishna, nothing happened. What is the reason for the Mela? Asked Prabhupada's servant Harishauri. Is it something about some drops of nectar from the Mohini Murti? It is actually a religious conference, Prabhupada replied. All the different groups gather in that holy place and they propagate their philosophy there. India is a country of religion. They know spiritual life is more important than this material life. That is India. Now they are diverting their attention to the material. Otherwise, the whole of India is for spiritual life. About 5 minutes before 7, Srila Prabhupada left the beach and walked back to the Hare Krishna land. As he approached, he saw the massive two-story towers of the ISKCON hotel and the even taller and grander temple domes. The buildings, however, were unfinished. The temple domes had to be covered with marble, and all the buildings needed numerous finishing touches. Prabhupada was anxiously anticipating the opening, but Surabhi Maharaj spoke of delays. The opening date therefore remained indefinite. Delays had been routine ever since Prabhupada had first tried to purchase the Juhu land from Mr. N in 1971, and obstacles had plagued all his attempts to build. Now, the triumph of installing the deities of Radha Rasbihari in one of the most gorgeous temples in India was near. Radha Rasbihari were still being worshipped in the temporary shelter the devotees had erected in 1971. But as Prabhupada approached, he could see the magnificent temple structure looming behind that humble shed, proclaiming that soon Radha Rasbihari would move into his palace. Krishna was blessing the faithful work of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples in Bombay. Although Srila Prabhupada was always traveling, pushing his movement ahead on all fronts, he would regularly return to Bombay. He, more clearly than his disciples, could see when the workers were delaying or even cheating. This time, as before, he would stay for a while, give advice, and then move on. On returning to the ISKCON property, Srila Prabhupada came before the deities and beheld once again the charming beauty that made him sometimes indicate that of all deities, these were the dearest to him. His promise to Radharas Vihari that he would build them a beautiful temple was soon to become a living reality, but he sometimes expressed doubt as to whether he would live to see it. He was now 81 and was bothered by certain persistent illnesses. Of course, the warnings of death were nothing new to Srila Prabhupada, as he had had serious bouts with illness from the beginning of his preaching in the West in 1965. Yet, despite his frequent remarks about retiring, his disciples found it difficult to imagine. Yes, they should by all means complete the work as soon as possible and open the Bombay temple. And yes, they should assure Prabhupada that he could retire and eventually complete his Srimad Bhagavatam. But of course, Krishna would allow him to remain with them and see the completion of at least these two projects. Each month, one of Srila Prabhupada's GBC men stayed with him to serve him as his secretary and to receive direct training and personal association. The secretary for January 1977 was Rameshwar Swami. Prabhupada was genuinely pleased and enlivened when early in the morning Rameshwar entered his room, having flown straight from Los Angeles to Bombay. Prabhupada considered Rameshwar an expert ISKCON manager, especially in printing and distributing Krishna conscious literature, which was Prabhupada's priority in preaching. Rameshwar Swami inquired as a humble servant before his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada, he said, "You look well. Are you feeling well?" Srila Prabhupada laughed. "At the present moment, I am feeling well because you are here." Within moments, they were discussing ISKCON preaching and management, and Prabhupada advised Rameshwar that the best policy was to use money for printing more books. As soon as money accumulated, Prabhupada warned it would be taxed and would cause headaches. Better to immediately spend it for printing books. Print books and sell and spend, said Srila Prabhupada. Follow this policy and distribute these books. That is our main preaching. Somehow or other, we must take our books door to door and distribute. Then our preaching is successful. Anyone who will read will get some benefit, that is sure, because no other such literature is available throughout the whole world. It is a new revolution to the people in general. When Srila Prabhupada asked for news of ISKCON's activities in the West, Rameshwar gave the latest details of how the Krishna consciousness movement in America was being attacked in the courts and press as a psychologically dangerous brainwashing cult. Srila Prabhupada was already aware of this. It was in fact the conspiracy he had referred to on his morning walk. An anti-cult movement was now aggressively active and lumping the Hare Krishna movement in with the other new movements. Srila Prabhupada was well aware of the deprogrammers' kidnapping of devotees and intensively coercing them, and he had shown that he was not intimidated by the attack. He assured the devotees that Krishna would protect them and that the outcome would ultimately be in their favor. Hare Krishna. Yes, ultimately that is where things end. He assured the devotees that Krishna would always protect them. The outcome would ultimately be in their favor. So, pure devotees can see the distant, they can see the past, they can see the future, And yes, when we are surrendered to the Lord and surrender to Guru Parampara, then victory is always the ultimate result that will come. So Prabhupada is also, it was nice to read about Prabhupada's travels to Bombay and his decision to go to Kumbh Mela. And yeah, we all know Kumbh Mela people, so many people come there. That time it was 12 million in 1977. Now, there are like crores and crores of people who go there. But again, the whole point is, like Prabhupada was saying, it's a place of religious gathering, and the purpose is not just to go there and bathe in the Ganges and the confluence of the holy rivers, but to actually associate with pure devotees. So, like that, um, you know, the prayer that we also sang this morning, Narottam Das Thakur was saying the same thing, right? That Ganga, then just by taking dip in Ganga, we are able to, here, after bathing in the waters of Ganges water many times, one becomes purified. But just by the sight of you, the fallen souls are purified. This is your great power. Darshana matra pavitra kare, ei tumhar gun. So we don't have to go to Ganges and we have to take bath. But if we just take darshan of a pure devotee, just the darshan matra pavitra kare, but that millions and millions of lives of our sins are destroyed, and we become purified. So, like that, Prabhupada came to all this Western world in New York and Detroit and New Vrindavan and our Atlanta, Florida, everywhere across the US, all the centers that he opened. There is no Ganges water here, right? There is no Kumbh Mela here. But we see how all of these disciples of Srila Prabhupada are purified just by associating with a pure Vaishnava. So Mahabhagavat, and when he came, when he sang, when he spoke, that's what Kirtananda Maharaj was reflecting yesterday, that when we were in New York, the first days when Prabhupada, of course, first initially he didn't even have a residence, so he was staying with some people, then he had that yoga studio, and then eventually, those memories, they were remembering Prabhupada's initial morning, kirtan, and then the class, and then the Prabhupada so lovingly distributing the prasadam from his plate to everybody. So those memories, those purified so many of those devotees, early devotees who were there. And Prabhupada is so thankful to them, grateful to them. Now also he's remembering that, and Rameshwar Swami is so nicely become an ISKCON manager. He's publishing and printing books and distributing them, and he's saying, I'm well because you are here, right? So loving, so much love and care he has for his disciples. Like he was saying, all of you have been sent by my Guru Maharaj and by Krishna to help me in spreading this movement. So yeah, a genuine spiritual master is very pleased when his disciples make progress. So like that, even though they may not be physically around, but their blessings, their mercy is always there if we continue to follow their instructions. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything from today's reading or anything from what we have read so far? Anything that you have liked, loved, learned? Other thoughts? Okay, all right. If nothing else, then we'll pause here for today. Thank you so much for your wonderful association with Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada Lilamrit. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.